It started with one message that wasn't supposed to exist. The phone had been dead for 14 long, silent years, a number buried with the past. A voice lost beneath the waves. "I made it back, Rachel." 5 words that stopped her world. Her hands froze above the screen. Her breath caught in disbelief. The number glowed familiar digits. Ethan's number. The one gone forever. She stared, unable to move. The timestamp read the impossible. Date October 3rd, 2011. The night the storm took him. The night his boat vanished. The night she watched news anchors say he'd been lost at sea. But here it was again, alive in her trembling hands. The same signal. The same voice. Or maybe someone pretending. Rachel's heart raced in chaos. Why now? Why after 14 years? Who could even know this number? She'd changed phones, changed cities, changed everything to forget him. Yet here it was again. A ghost whispering from the deep. "Please don't tell anyone yet." That line made her heart sink. It wasn't just random spam. Whoever sent it knew too much. She typed back, hands trembling. "Who is this?" "Stop texting." But before she could send, another ping lit the screen. "You promised to wait for me." Her eyes widened in shock. No one else knew those words. Ethan had said them that night, right before the storm took him. "Wait for me, no matter what." Rachel dropped the phone, shaking. Her reflection trembled in the dark. The same coastline flashed in her mind. The crash reports, the empty casket, the goodbye she never believed in, and now a text that rewrote everything. Could a number really return, or was grief playing tricks again? "Tell me, what would you do if someone you loved, long gone, suddenly texted you, 'I made it back'?" It started like any other morning. Cold air kissed the sleepy town of Riverton, a place too small for secrets. Or so people thought. At 7:45 a.m. sharp, Train 93 whistled through the fog, carrying 62 passengers bound for the city. Among them was Clara Hayes, a 28-year-old journalist chasing her next big story. She texted her brother before boarding, "Don't worry, Liam, it's just a short ride. I'll be back by dinner." That was the last message anyone ever received from her, because 30 minutes later, Train 93 vanished. No crash, no wreckage, no signal. The train and everyone on it simply disappeared, between Station Hollow and Bridgepoint Tunnel. For 3 days, rescue teams searched every inch of the tracks. Dogs, drones, thermal cameras, nothing. It was as if the earth had swallowed an entire train whole. Liam refused to believe she was gone. He camped near the tracks night after night, listening to the distant echoes of something that shouldn't be there. Sometimes at 2:17 a.m. he swore he heard it, the faint hum of wheels on rails, and a whistle that cut through the darkness. Locals began to whisper. Some said the tunnel was cursed. Others believed it was a government cover-up. But for Liam, none of that mattered. He only wanted one thing, to find his sister. On the 7th night, as fog rolled heavy over the valley, his flashlight flickered near the tunnel entrance. A sound followed, distant but clear. The low rumble of a train. Liam froze. The tracks trembled beneath his feet. And from the shadows of the tunnel came a light. But when it passed, the rails were empty. No train, no noise, only the faint smell of burning metal, and a single ticket stub lying in the dirt. It was stamped. Train 93, departure, October 14th, 2009. Arrival, pending. Liam picked it up, his hands trembling. The date on his phone read October 14th, 2019. Exactly 10 years to the day. He whispered, barely breathing. "Clara?" And from deep within the tunnel, a woman's voice echoed back. "Liam, I told you I'd be home for dinner." The police dismissed it. The press called it a hoax. But Liam knew what he heard that night, his sister's voice. And when something like that echoes from a tunnel that's been sealed for a decade, you don't just walk away. The next morning, he returned with a camera, a flashlight, and a feeling he couldn't explain. Not hope, not fear, but something caught between them. The fog clung to the air like a ghost refusing to leave. Every footstep on the gravel felt louder than it should. When he reached the tunnel entrance, he noticed something strange. A faint vibration beneath the ground, the same rhythm a train makes when it's nearing a station, but the tracks had long been declared inactive. And then the wind changed. It wasn't just wind. It carried something with it, the smell of smoke, coal, and metal, all too real to be memory. Liam steadied his camera. The light inside the tunnel flickered again. Then a blinding glare cut through the fog. For the first time in 10 years, Train 93 came roaring out of the tunnel. Old, dusty but whole, its lights burned like eyes opening after a long sleep. The train screeched to a halt right in front of him. No conductor. No noise. Only the slow hiss of its brakes. Liam's heart hammered in his chest as he climbed aboard. Each step echoed like a whisper. The doors closed behind him with a soft metallic sigh. The inside was exactly how it should have been. Neat rows of red seats, luggage overhead, the faint hum of electricity, except it was empty. Every seat, every aisle. No passengers. Until he reached car 7. A faint melody drifted through the air. The same tune Clara used to hum when she was writing her stories. It came from the end of the car. And then he saw her, sitting by the window, staring at the mist outside just like she used to. Same brown coat, same messy bun, same soft look of focus. "Clara?" he whispered. She turned slowly. Her eyes met his. For a moment, time itself stopped. Liam? She said softly, blinking in disbelief. Tears welled in his eyes. "You're alive." She smiled weakly, confused. "Of course I am. Why wouldn't I be?" He froze. Her watch still ticked. October 14th, 2009. Her phone was in her lap. Its screen cracked but glowing faintly with a message draft. "Be home for dinner soon." Liam's voice broke. "Clara, that was 10 years ago." She frowned. No, the train just went through the tunnel. But when she looked around, the windows no longer showed tracks or stations. Only a fog so thick it looked alive, swirling, pulsing, watching. Clara's smile faded. "Liam, where are we?" And from the train's intercom, a distorted voice whispered, "Next stop, Bridgepoint. Please remain seated." But Bridgepoint was destroyed years ago. The station hadn't existed since the day Train 93 vanished. Liam and Clara looked at each other, both realizing the same terrifying thing. This wasn't the train returning. It was inviting them back. The Bridgepoint station. The lights flickered again as the voice repeated, "Next stop, Bridgepoint." Liam gripped the armrest, trying to steady his breath. The air grew colder and the windows turned opaque with frost. Clara's hand trembled in his. "Bridgepoint isn't real anymore," she whispered. He nodded, eyes darting to the front of the train. "Then where is it taking us?" The train lurched forward suddenly, jerking both of them back into their seats. Outside, the fog thickened, moving faster than the train itself, as if chasing them. Liam moved through the aisles, searching for any sign of life. The overhead lights buzzed faintly. Seats were empty, but the faint smell of perfume and coffee lingered, like passengers had just been there. He found an old newspaper crumpled under a seat. The headline read, "Train 93 still missing families. Demand answers." But the date printed on it was tomorrow's. His stomach turned. He rushed back to Clara. "Clara, we're not just inside a train. We're inside something else, something caught between time." She shook her head, panic rising. "No, that can't be. I was just on my way home." Suddenly, a shadow passed across the car, moving too fast to be human. The lights dimmed to red. The sound of footsteps echoed in the corridor ahead, slow and deliberate. Clara clung to his arm. "Liam, someone's here." He took a deep breath, moving toward the sound. "Stay here." He pushed open the next car door and the noise stopped instantly. The next carriage was darker, older. The seats were torn and the floorboards cracked beneath his boots. A faint whisper drifted from the ceiling, repeating a single word. "Return. Return. Return." Liam shone his flashlight upward and froze. The ceiling was covered with faint handprints, small, large, smeared across the metal like someone had tried to claw their way out. His chest tightened. "Clara, don't come in here," he called. But it was too late. She was standing behind him, her face pale. "Those are passengers," she said softly. "They tried to get out." The train jolted violently. They both fell to the floor. The intercom crackled again. "Approaching Bridgepoint. Prepare to disembark." Liam staggered up, grabbing Clara's hand. "We're not getting off this train." But the doors opened on their own, letting in a wave of cold mist. Outside was a platform, cracked, flooded, with rusted signs and flickering lamps. Bridgepoint Station. Exactly as it looked in the photos from the day of the accident. Except now ghostly figures lined the platform, motionless as if waiting for something. "Liam," Clara whispered, "they're looking at us." He turned. Every figure's face was expressionless, pale eyes, frozen stares, and then one of them stepped forward, lifting a trembling hand. "Ticket, please." The voice was hollow, distorted, like it came from deep underwater. Liam's blood ran cold. He grabbed Clara and pulled her back inside. But the train doors shut behind them, trapping them in. The figure smiled, pressing its face to the window. "Welcome back, passenger 94. The train whistle screamed, and the world outside began to shift. Buildings crumbled, lights flickered, and the fog swallowed everything. Clara's voice broke. "Liam, what does that mean?" He looked down at her trembling wrist. A small metal bracelet glinted in the light, engraved with a number 094, the same number the ghostly figure had said. And in that instant, Liam realized Clara was never supposed to come back. The number 094, Liam's pulse thundered in his ears as the number on Clara's bracelet glowed, faintly under the flickering light. "Clara," he whispered, gripping her wrist. "Where did you get this?" She blinked, confusion washing over her face. I don't know. It's always been there. Since I woke up on the train." Her words hit him like ice. "Since I woke up." The intercom crackled again, this time softer, almost mournful. "Bridgepoint Terminal. All lost passengers prepare to return." Liam shook his head. "No, we're not lost." But even as he said it, the train began to move backward, slowly at first, then faster. Outside, the station blurred into nothingness, replaced by flashes of faces. People staring out from the dark, trapped between glass and fog. Clara pressed her forehead to the window. "They're calling me?" He pulled her back. "No, they're not. Don't listen." But her eyes filled with tears. "Liam, I think I was on this train before." He froze. "What are you talking about?" She looked up, voice trembling. "The day Bridgepoint collapsed. I was going home from university. My dad was waiting for me. I never made it." Liam's throat went dry. "That was 7 years ago. Clara, the accident, everyone on board was declared dead." The lights in the carriage went out. For a moment, everything was silent except the rhythmic clack-clack of the wheels. Then a dim blue glow filled the car. On the far end, the outlines of passengers began to appear, transparent. The figures sat quietly, eyes blank, hands folded in their laps. One turned its head toward Liam and spoke, its voice barely audible. "You shouldn't be here." "A live one." Liam stepped back. "A live one?" The ghost tilted its head. "You came aboard when the gate was open. It doesn't stay open for long." Before Liam could respond, the train jerked violently, throwing him against the wall. Clara screamed. The specters vanished instantly. When he looked up, the windows were gone. In their place, dark water swirling around the train like an ocean. Bubbles rose past the glass. A faint reflection shimmered, a wrecked train lying on the bottom of a lake. Bridgepoint Lake. Liam's chest heaved. "We're inside the wreck." Clara clutched his hand, tears streaming down her face. "Then how am I here?" He didn't have an answer. But before he could speak, the intercom crackled again, this time with a different voice, a man's voice, weary but human. "Passenger 094, do you hear me? This is Control." Liam's eyes widened. "Someone's out there." He grabbed the intercom speaker. "Hello? This is Liam Ford. There are 2 of us on board, me and Clara." Static roared, then the voice returned. "You need to get off that train immediately. It's not supposed to be moving." "It sank 7 years ago." Clara's hand tightened around his. "He said 7 years." Liam stared at her. "You said that too." The voice came again, urgent now. "Listen to me carefully. You have 10 minutes before it goes under again. Find the emergency exit near the rear car. Don't stop for anything." The transmission cut off. Clara's lips trembled. "Liam, what if I can't leave?" He turned to her sharply. "What do you mean?" Her eyes filled with sorrow. "I don't think I ever did." For a long moment he couldn't speak. The train groaned, the sound of metal bending under pressure. Liam cupped her face. "I don't care what's real or not. You're coming with me." But when he looked down again, her reflection in the glass wasn't moving. It was staring back at him, smiling faintly. The final stop. Liam's breath caught as Clara's reflection smiled back at him, still and cold, even though the real Clara stood trembling beside him. "Clara, look," he whispered. She turned, following his gaze, and froze. Her reflection wasn't matching her movements anymore. It was waving, slowly, deliberately. Then it mouthed the word, "Stay here." Clara's body went rigid. The train lights flickered again, and that same low mechanical hum filled the air, the sound of the engine deep beneath the lake coming alive. Liam grabbed her arm. "We have to move now." She didn't move. "Liam, I can hear them." The others. "They're calling my name." "Ignore them," he yelled, dragging her toward the back of the train. Water was seeping in through the cracks in the doors, droplets first, then steady streams running across the floor. Each step echoed like a heartbeat. The blue emergency lights pulsed with every vibration. The figures sat quietly, eyes blank, hands folded in their laps. One turned its head toward Liam and spoke, its voice barely audible. "You shouldn't be here." "A live one." Liam stepped back. "A live one?" The ghost tilted its head. "You came aboard when the gate was open. It doesn't stay open for long." Before Liam could respond, the train jerked violently, throwing him against the wall. Clara screamed. The specters vanished instantly. When he looked up, the windows were gone. In their place, dark water swirling around the train like an ocean. Bubbles rose past the glass. A faint reflection shimmered, a wrecked train lying on the bottom of a lake. Bridgepoint Lake. Liam's chest heaved. "We're inside the wreck." Clara clutched his hand, tears streaming down her face. "Then how am I here?" He didn't have an answer. But before he could speak, the intercom crackled again, this time with a different voice, a man's voice, weary but human. "Passenger 094, do you hear me? This is Control." Liam's eyes widened. "Someone's out there." He grabbed the intercom speaker. "Hello? This is Liam Ford. There are two of us on board, me and Clara." Static roared, then the voice returned. "You need to get off that train immediately. It's not supposed to be moving." "It sank 7 years ago." Clara's hand tightened around his. "He said 7 years." Liam stared at her. "You said that too." The voice came again, urgent now. "Listen to me carefully. You have 10 minutes before it goes under again. Find the emergency exit near the rear car. Don't stop for anything." The transmission cut off. Clara's lips trembled. "Liam, what if I can't leave?" He turned to her sharply. "What do you mean?" Her eyes filled with sorrow. "I don't think I ever did." For a long moment he couldn't speak. The train groaned, the sound of metal bending under pressure. Liam cupped her face. "I don't care what's real or not. You're coming with me." But when he looked down again, her reflection in the glass wasn't moving. It was staring back at him, smiling faintly. The final stop. Liam's breath caught as Clara's reflection smiled back at him, still and cold, even though the real Clara stood trembling beside him. "Clara, look," he whispered. She turned, following his gaze, and froze. Her reflection wasn't matching her movements anymore. It was waving, slowly, deliberately. Then it mouthed the word, "Stay here." Clara's body went rigid. The train lights flickered again, and that same low mechanical hum filled the air, the sound of the engine deep beneath the lake coming alive. Liam grabbed her arm. "We have to move now." She didn't move. "Liam, I can hear them." The others. "They're calling my name." "Ignore them," he yelled, dragging her toward the back of the train. Water was seeping in through the cracks in the doors, droplets first, then steady streams running across the floor. Each step echoed like a heartbeat. The blue emergency lights pulsed with every vibration.
"Don't look at them," Liam muttered under his breath, gripping Clara tighter. She stumbled, clutching her head. "It hurts, Liam. It hurts to remember." He turned her to face him. "You're not one of them. You're here. You're with me." She opened her mouth to reply, but the intercom crackled again. "Liam Ford, this is Control. You're approaching the rear car. The hatch will only open from your side. You have 4 minutes before pressure breaches." His hand trembled as he reached for the lever, but the metal felt frozen, rusted shut. He yanked it again and again. Nothing. "Come on," he shouted. Clara took a step back, her face pale. "Liam, stop." "Why?" he snapped. "This is the only way out." Her voice was quiet, almost too calm. "Because if you open that door, you'll drown." He froze. "What are you saying?" She smiled sadly. "You're not supposed to be here." "Liam, but I am." "No," he said, shaking his head. "No, I found you. I came to bring you home." "You already did," she whispered, placing her hand on his chest. "You just don't remember." The sound of rushing water thundered through the train. The windows shattered inward, spraying shards across the seats. The car tilted, metal groaning, air hissing out. Liam wrapped his arms around her. I'm not leaving without you. Clara pressed her forehead against his. Then don't. Just wake up. Wake up? His voice broke. What do you... But before he could finish, her body began to fade, dissolving into mist that swirled around him. The pressure in his ears built until it felt like his head would burst. He screamed her name as the train plunged into darkness. Silence. Then, a steady beep. Liam's eyes snapped open. He was in a hospital bed, tubes running from his arms, a heart monitor pulsing softly beside him. A nurse rushed to his side. Mr. Ford, you're awake. Can you hear me? He tried to sit up, groaning. Clara, where's Clara? The nurse exchanged a worried look with the doctor entering the room. Sir, you were found. Unconscious near Bridgepoint. Lake, you've been in a coma for 3 days. No, he said, shaking his head. There was a train. She was on it. The doctor placed a hand on his shoulder. Bridgepoint train 094 sank 7 years ago. Mr. Ford, there were no survivors. Liam's heartbeat quickened. But I saw her. I spoke to her. The doctor sighed softly. We found this in your hand when they pulled you from the shore. He handed Liam a small, rusted bracelet engraved with the number 094. Liam's breath hitched. It was still wet. As the doctor left, Liam turned it over in his palm. A faint, almost invisible etching was carved beneath the numbers. Thank you for finding me. His hand trembled as he stared at the words. Outside the window, the reflection of the lake shimmered under the afternoon sun. But for a split second, just long enough to make his heart stop, he swore he saw her, standing at the edge of the water, smiling. Then she turned and vanished into the ripples.
The ripples never stopped. Days turned into weeks. But sleep never came easily for Liam. Each night, he would jolt awake gasping for air, the sound of rushing water echoing in his mind. The doctors called it trauma-induced hallucination. They said the lake had tricked his memory, that his mind had created Clara as a way to cope with nearly drowning. But Liam knew better. He could still smell her perfume on his clothes, still hear her voice whispering, "Wake up!" He started visiting Bridgepoint Lake every evening, sitting at the same spot where they had found him. Locals watched him from afar, whispering about the man who had gone crazy, chasing ghosts. One night, an old fisherman approached him. "You're the one who saw the train, aren't you?" The question caught Liam off guard. "How did you—" The man pointed toward the middle of the lake. "You're not the first. Every few years, someone claims they see lights under the water. Some even hear music, but no one ever dives twice." Liam's pulse quickened. "Music?" The man nodded. Faint humming, like the sound of a train engine idling. You hear it just before the fog rolls in. That night, Liam sat in his car long after the fisherman left, the bracelet heavy in his hand. He could hear it faintly now, a low hum beneath the stillness. Without realizing it, he began tracing the etched numbers on the bracelet with his thumb. 0, 9, 4. The air grew colder. A thin layer of mist began spreading across the lake's surface. His breath fogged the glass as he whispered, "Clara?" The hum grew louder, vibrating through the car. He stepped out, the cold biting his skin. The lake looked still, too still. Then he saw it, a faint blue glow rising from the depths, pulsing like a heartbeat. Liam's chest tightened. He waded in without thinking, the water creeping past his knees, his waist, his chest. He held the bracelet above the surface, shouting her name. "Clara, please!" The glow grew brighter, a figure beginning to take shape beneath the ripples. It looked like her. Same long hair, same dress from that night, but when she lifted her head, he realized it wasn't Clara. It was someone else. Another woman, eyes wide with terror, pressing her palms against an invisible barrier just below the surface. She was screaming, but there was no sound. Liam stumbled back in shock as a wave of icy air slammed into him. He fell to his knees, gasping as the glow faded. When he looked up again, the lake was dark and calm. Nothing but moonlight. His heart pounded as he ran back to shore, soaked and trembling. In the distance, he saw flashing lights, a police car pulling up near the dock. "Sir, step away from the water!" an officer shouted. Liam raised his hands, shaking. "There's someone down there." "We've heard that before," the officer said flatly. "You need to leave. I'm serious," Liam yelled. I saw her. But when he turned back toward the lake, the glow was gone. The officer sighed. Mr. Ford, people drown here chasing ghosts. Go home before you become one of them. Liam didn't move. His eyes locked on the water. What if they're not ghosts? He whispered. What if they're trapped? The officer muttered something under his breath and walked away. But Liam stayed, staring into the black reflection. The wind shifted, and for just a moment, the reflection changed. The train was there again, submerged just below the surface, faint but visible. In one of the windows, a woman was staring back at him. This time it was Clara, and her lips were moving, repeating one word over and over. Help. They found her diary inside the same cabin where she had disappeared. The pages were damp, ink smudged, but one thing was clear. The date written on the last entry was yesterday. Yet she had vanished 7 years ago. The sheriff's hands trembled as he passed it to Noah. It's impossible, he muttered, voice cracking under disbelief. Noah opened the diary, scanning the pages filled with soft, looping handwriting. Each line carried pieces of her heart, pieces of a past he had tried to bury. If you're reading this, the diary began, then I'm still lost. But I think I can see the light again. Noah froze. His breath caught in his throat. It was her voice in his head again, soft, broken, real. Every page revealed moments she'd never shared before, how she had felt, something watching her by the lake, how she had followed whispers she thought were his voice. I thought it was you, she had written. I thought you were calling my name. The entries grew darker, filled with confusion and fear. She described hearing her own laughter from the woods at night, seeing her reflection in the lake move when she hadn't. Noah's hands shook as he turned the final page. I'm not sure who I am anymore, but I think the lake remembers me. He slammed the diary shut. His mind raced. The lake, the voice, the reflection, everything circled back to that day she vanished. The same day he had ignored her call. The same day he told her, I'll be there soon. He never came, and she never returned until now. That night Noah walked back to the lake. The moonlight cut through the fog like a blade, scattering across the water's glassy surface. He kneeled at the edge, the cold breeze carrying faint echoes of laughter, hers. I'm here, he whispered. I'm sorry I wasn't before. The water rippled. For a moment he saw her, standing barefoot on the opposite shore, smiling through the mist. Then she was gone. Only the echo remained. He dropped to his knees, tears slipping down his face. If you're out there, I'll find you, he whispered. As he turned to leave, he noticed something in the reeds, her necklace. The same one she had worn the day she disappeared. He picked it up, clutching it tightly, heart pounding like thunder. The pendant was warm, too warm. And when he looked down at the reflection in the lake again, he didn't see himself. He saw her. Staring back, the reflection blinked, then smiled. The diary's last words flashed in his mind like a haunting whisper. The lake remembers me. Days later, Noah packed up and left town. Some said he moved on. Others said they still saw him by the water every night, talking to someone who wasn't there. The cabin remained sealed, untouched, until one stormy morning, a fisherman spotted 2 sets of footprints leading into the lake, and none coming back. No one could explain it. No one tried. But sometimes when the wind passed through the valley, locals swore they could hear her laughter and his voice answering back, as if the lake had finally given them back to each other, or maybe never let them go at all.